Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and yet another video. Today I want to do something a little bit different, and what I want to do is I want to talk to you about 5 tips that I have been using ever since I got married to save some money even though I am on a budget. And this is very possible for you if you are living in Kenya, if you are living in anywhere. I think you can implement these same tips in your everyday life and you will actually be able to save some money. So I'll just talk to you. I'm not talking about this tip in a place where I'm a professional. I'm just talking to you about these things as a point where it's from experience. So I just want to share even with examples that are my own things that I've actually done and they have worked. So let's go ahead and get started. My first tip, I'll be looking down because I'll be looking at my notes. So when you see me gazing down, I'm actually looking at my notes because I want to be sure I'm saying everything I want to say, because sometimes when I'm actually editing a video, I will realize I should have said something and I should have added this over there. So I just want to be sure I give you all the information that I want to share. That's why I have a list down here. So tip number 1 is buy in bulk. This is something that has been a life changer in our lives, because previously when I was living alone, I would buy things every single day. And when I'm saying buy in bulk, what do I mean? You know the things that you need in your home. You know the things that you need to use every single day. You need soap, you need steel wool, you need sugar, maybe you need rice, maybe you need flour, whatever it may be. It can be very expensive for you to buy these kinds of things every single day because you are buying from a retailer. And when you're doing that, you have to go to the grocery store every single day, and you'll be tempted to put in your cart or buy something that you actually don't need because you are buying from a supermarket, you're buying from a shop. I would advise you that you buy in bulk. Let me give an example. This is something that I use every single day, and if you have watched my video, you will know that it's my steel wools. And if you can see, my bag is almost up, and I do use this every single day. So what I did is I just bought the whole thing, and it comes with small individual packets in there. And if I would buy this every single day or every 2 days, I would be spending so much money. For example, where I live, this little sachet goes for 7 shillings. And if I actually buy it in a whole packet like this, I buy it at 4 shillings, meaning I'm saving 3 shillings per packet. For this whole package, I bought it at 130, and it was about 30 pieces, meaning if you calculate by the 30 pieces, I'm actually buying one at around 4 shillings. In my shop, my retailer's shop, I would buy this for 7 shillings, meaning for this whole pack, I'm actually saving about 60 shillings, which is a good deal. I'm on a budget, yes, but I still want to save money. I don't necessarily need to buy one every day from my shop. I can just go to a wholesaler and buy in bulk. There's no problem. The same thing goes with something like sugar, something like rice, cooking oil. For example, we use around 3 liters of cooking oil every single month. So what I do is I just take mostly it's usually the very first week of the month, I go and buy every single thing that I will actually be needing for that month, except produce, because I do not own a fridge. I do not want to buy produce so that it can go bad. I will explain what I do when the video continues. Okay. Tip number 2, buy from wholesalers. I cannot emphasize this enough. You want to eliminate as many middlemen as possible when you are purchasing for your home. It's about you, it's about your finances, and if you have goals, this is a very nice way for you to save money, because when you buy from a wholesaler, you are actually eliminating any middlemen in between, because more middlemen means a more expensive item, because everybody wants to be paid. So what I did is I actually tried different wholesales, and I realized that there's a difference of about 5 shillings, 10 shillings, and all that. And every single person has, okay, if you live in Kenya, there is always a wholesale shop around you. No question asked, you will always find a wholesale around you. And nowadays they actually even sell for you individual pieces. You don't have to buy like a whole bale of unga. You can just buy like a 2 kg packet, and it will be less in like 5 shillings. For example, I will show you with something that is very popular now, toilet paper. This video is not sponsored, but this is the toilet paper that we're using now. I don't know if you can see the pink. I love it. So for this individual roll, it is 25 shillings in a supermarket. When I went to our wholesale area, a wholesale shop in my area, actually bought this 10 pack for 190, meaning I'm actually being given this roll for 19 shillings. So I'm actually saving 6 shillings per roll. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if you buy in bulk, buy at a wholesale, because you get a better deal there. You're eliminating middlemen, and you're getting you're saving some money. So I got this for 19 shillings, and at a supermarket the same roll is for 25 shillings. So you can get my thought here: buy from a wholesale shop. Tip number 3, please have a weekly budget and stick to it. If, for example, for your total grocery money, your total money for food and groceries and all that is 5,000 per month, I would advise you to, if you have 5 weeks in that month, just divide that money in 5 weeks. For example, that is exactly what I do. But for me, the different thing is, I first of all buy every single thing that I need in bulk. And then after I've stocked up on all that, what I do is I take the remainder of the money and I divide it in the remainder of the days, the weeks and all that. For me, if you have checked my weekly check-ins, you'll have realized that I actually don't spend that much money towards the end of the month, because I would like to use up all the food that I've stocked up, so that for the following month I can actually restock with fresh food. But you can do whatever works for you, just do it. But I would like to tell you that it is very, very important to have a budget, and most specifically have it weekly, because if you put your whole money where you can see it, you can actually spend more money towards the first weeks and have no money towards the end of the month. So have a weekly budget and stick to it. If possible, go under. Any amount that remains, just move it forward to the following week, and whenever you feel like you want to eat something special, you won't have to go into debt or have to spend money from different envelopes or anything like that. Just have a weekly budget and stick to it. Okay, so this is the important, I think the most important part of this video, for me anyway, is tip number 4. Plan out your meals and shop mindfully. This can be a trap if you let it be, because if you don't have an idea of what your family will be eating for that week, you can be tempted to be splurging your money and not really caring about what you're going to be using for the next whole month that is remaining. So what I do is, for example, if you have a fridge, I don't own one, and I've never owned one, and maybe one day, I don't know. But if you own a fridge, this is even more beneficial for you, because you can actually take one day off the whole week, for example on a Sunday afternoon, on a Sunday morning, and meal prep. Plan out your meals. Some people even cook the meals and just preheat them or throw them in the oven or something like that. This is very important, because you will not go out to eat. 2, you will not use any extra money that you have not budgeted for, because you know exactly what your family is eating and what amount it amounts to. And what I have been doing is, I have been buying produce every 2 weeks, because I don't have a fridge. If I do buy a lot of produce, it will probably go bad. So I would, for example, if it's fruits, I will actually buy it once a week, so that you can eat that fruit for that whole week and just be finished with it, instead of it going bad. But when it comes to things like onions, tomatoes, and carrots and potatoes and all that sort of thing. I usually buy it like once every 2 weeks. And when I do that, I already have a plan. So this is an example of my meal plan. And this is an example of how I know how much money I'll be using for my whole week. For example, if you can see, I indicate the amount of money I think I'll be spending for that specific meal. And that way I know how much I'm spending. For example, when it comes to produce, I will buy like a head of cabbage, of which it's just me and my husband. And what we do is, if let me just put it on this side, for example, we want to eat cabbage on that particular day, what I do is I just go ahead and buy a head of cabbage, which is very inexpensive. For example, you can get one for around 20 shillings, 30 shillings. And we do not eat the whole head, we just have half of it. And what I do, if for example we had some cabbage on Monday, I will ensure that for another day during the week we are going to have the other half of the cabbage, so that it does not go bad. So for example, I had githeri with some steamed cabbage on Monday. On Friday we can have some pilau with some steamed cabbage, if like they have indicated here. So if you want to buy something, if you don't have a fridge like I do, and you don't want your food to go bad, just plan it out within the week, within the 2 weeks, so that you can eat all that produce and nothing will go bad. When it comes to something like tomatoes and onions, I store them differently. For example, when I'm buying my tomatoes, I buy like a quarter of it that is ripe, and then for the rest of them they are raw, so that when I go and store them, I put the ones that are raw at the bottom and the ones that are ripe at the top. And what happens is that they will ripen slowly. I just put them somewhere open. I don't do anything fancy to them, and I've never had any problem with that. So I just consume the tomatoes for those 2 weeks without any problem. By the time I'm consuming the ones that are ripe, the others that are not ripe have started ripening, and I'll be able to use all of those tomatoes with no issues at all. When it comes to my onions, what I actually do is I put them in a container. I have this special container. It's actually a sieve for flour, but I use it for my onions. What I do is I place them in that little container and I stick them in a very dark corner, so that they actually don't see any light unless I am opening that cupboard and taking out some onions. Now when it comes to something like potatoes, what I do is I place them in I'm trying to find one so that I can show you. I have these disposable bags that are very common in Kenya. So I place my potatoes in there, and then I stick it in a dark corner. Specifically, I like to place them on the floor, concrete floor, because the coldness helps, and the darkness will ensure that they will not sprout, and I've never had any issue with that. And we like potatoes in this household, so we don't really have a lot of them sticking around for too long. So if you have a fridge, my auntie does this, and I'm very envious. I'm hopeful that one day, hopefully, I'll be able to do it. She buys the tomatoes in bulk, and what she does is she washes them, cuts them up, and then blends them. Then she puts them in a large tub and puts them in the fridge. So whenever she needs tomatoes, she just scoops out how much quantity she wants and cooks. The reason why she does this in the fridge, puts them in the fridge, is because she has a big family, and that quantity does not last too long in the fridge. If, for example, because it's just me and my husband, what I'll do is I'll continue with the same process, but half of those tomatoes I'll actually freeze, and then the other half will be in the fridge, and I'll just use it as it is. So I've even seen people blending or chopping up onions and freezing them. I don't know how safe that is, but I've seen people do it. Maybe it's different types of onions, I don't know, but please research and see. You can actually have fresh food whenever you want, because of actually planning your meals. And the last tip that I want to do, which is tip number 5, is make use of leftovers and carry them to work for lunch. It is so expensive having to eat when you are working, when you are at work. For example, if you do the total of the amount of money that you might be using for lunch, it's so much, it's insane. I used to spend around 200 shillings every single day for lunch until I realized that, what am I doing? I can simply just, whenever I'm cooking supper, I would cook more so that I can have enough for me to carry for my lunch. Also, if my husband that day is working from home, he can have something to just heat up and eat, which is very helpful and handy. One, you don't know the people preparing this food where they've been, you don't know what they're doing, you don't know how clean they are. Especially right now with the coronavirus, it's very risky for you to just go and eat anyhowly. I'm not saying this for you to be afraid, but it is good for you to have precaution. And if you want to save up some money, you can go ahead and just carry your food. I know there's some concerns because there's some people who cannot eat cold food, and maybe there's some people who don't have containers to carry food and keep the food hot for them throughout the day. Personally, I don't have an issue with eating cold food, which I know is bad because maybe health-wise, I don't know, I had it somewhere, but I've never had any problem with eating cold food. And if that is an issue that you have, the same restaurants that you go and buy your lunch, they will actually offer to heat your food in the microwave for a fee. For example, for around 10 shillings, around 20 shillings, they can heat up the food for you while you wait, as you watch as they heat it up for you. So if that is a problem, you can actually take up that and actually use it for your benefit. You can take it there. Instead of using 200 shillings, you can use 10 shillings to warm your food in a restaurant, or maybe you're in a workplace where they offer a microwave and you can warm it up. When it comes to containers, I have had some people say that you should not actually use plastics, but I have no issue. What I did is I found this set and actually bought it for around 500 shillings, and I got around 32 pieces, and the 32 pieces include the lids, so I think it's around 16 pieces, and they're different sizes. And what I liked about this is that they are microwave safe, they're freezer, and they're also freezer safe. So I went ahead and picked up a whole box of that, and I actually got mine in pink, and there are so many different sizes, different shapes. So you can go ahead and invest in something like this where you will have something to carry. Also, you can also invest in a bag, a lunch bag, or just an ordinary bag. Even your handbag can carry something for you to eat. And those are the 5 tips that I had for you today, where you can save money even when you're on a budget. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and that you have some ideas of how you yourself can save up some money. If you do have more tips, ensure to leave them in the comment section. I would love to learn more, because who doesn't want to save money? Everybody wants to save money. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.